Hello, everyone. It's Asus McDonald here. Hope you all are staying safe and healthy out there. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you haven't subscribed yet to the show, take a few seconds to subscribe so you don't miss out on any valuable content around entrepreneurship and around marketing. And please leave us a 5-star rating on the Apple Podcast. It would mean the whole world to me. Today, my guest is Ana Rose Monroe. Ana Rose, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here. Hey, Sis, I'm excited about this.
The same here. I'm pretty fired up. So I want to start by giving our listeners and viewers a short bio of who you are to give more context, and then we'll dive right into the questions.
Sounds good.
Now, for those that don't know Ana Rose Monroe is a master accredited portrait photographer and the owner of Ana Rose Monroe Photography in Los Gatos, California. She specializes in stylized portraits, personal branding, and dance photography. Her studio offers a luxury portrait experience that guides clients through the process from their first inquiry all the way to the final delivery. She genuinely believes in the value of portraiture and seeks to create unique and customized photo shoots for every single client of hers. Her background is in arts marketing, and she has always had a love for combining the incredible value of art with a viable business. Her photographic work has been used for advertising campaigns and published in magazines. She has also earned several silver and bronze awards for her work in the Portrait Masters competitions. Ana Rose, thank you again for joining the show. I'm excited. And also thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
So let's dive right in. What inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Well, I think it's just kind of in the blood a little bit because I could actually go back to when I was in elementary school, and this is like arts marketing in the very beginning. I actually like painted rocks. Like I went and gathered rocks and painted rocks and then put them together on a cardboard tray and went door to door and sold I really spent all this time creating these custom unique rocks, and I was like in third grade.
Yeah.
So I think it was kind of in the blood, and I've always done different things that are combining art with business. So creating things, creating artistic work, and then making a business out of it. So yeah, I think it's in the blood. But I think that I think it stems a lot from a willingness to take risks.
Mm.
I think what I was, kind of thinking about why entrepreneurship, it's not for everybody. And
Right.
you've got to be willing to take, the risk of failure, the risk of trying things that don't work, the risk of people not liking it. I mean, you've got to kind of get out there. So I think that, and also doing things that maybe you don't know, like from a business standpoint, exactly what step is the next step, but you just have got to go with your gut sometimes and make it work. So I like that. I mean, I enjoy doing that. I think the other thing is perseverance. You got to keep, especially like in 2020, what we've experienced. You have to, be willing to pivot, but keep going and try a new angle and something different. And I mean, I do that every time when I'm working with my clients, because everyone is unique, but every circumstance is unique too. So,
Right.
So yeah, I think it's those two things. I mean, I've worked for organizations and corporations, but it's not long before I work my way out of that and am back to doing something on my own. So, like I said, I think it's just there with some people. So, I don't think I could hide from it.
Now, no one in your family was an entrepreneur?
No, my dad. My dad
Oh, your
was.
dad. Did that have
He
some
owned
influence?
probably. I would say because I saw him taking risks. I saw there's a lack of security
Hmm.
and the sense of taking risks, which maybe is a pro and a con as a kid growing up in that environment. But yeah, he owned restaurants and was like
Nice.
artistic with his culinary skills, and so yeah, I saw him do that, and I guess it came from there. Probably he was always very
Yeah.
encouraging in that regard too.
Yeah, I'm starting to learn that a lot of the entrepreneurs that I've interviewed on the show, they have some type of influence from, parents or some type of relative. So that's awesome. And it just helps that it kind of went in with your personality as well too. your character, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think I could get away from it even if I tried.
But I do agree, it's not for everyone at the same time. Now, why did you
Yeah.
choose photography? You have a marketing background. Why not like, digital marketing or social media marketing or go to a different avenue?
Yeah, that's a good question. I remember back when I was getting my bachelor's degree and I wanted to go into business. And looking at the different options as far as specialties within business, marketing
Mhm.
was like the only one I was interested in because primarily the creativity and the creative aspect that offered. Um, from an artistic standpoint. So there's always this draw for me, at
Mhm.
least in art and the arts marketing. So then I worked for organizations and nonprofits that supported the arts. So photography, you were saying why did I go into marketing or photography? Is that was the
Yeah,
question?
photography specifically, because it seems like you had a ton of avenues or different services that you could have went for, right? But focusing on photography, I'm just curious to know why did you choose that over any other type of services?
Yeah, I think okay, first and foremost for me, it's the artistic combination because I learned the technical. I'll learn any technical you put in front of me because I want to create the artistic result I see in my head.
Mhm.
I'm not in love with the technical for the sake of the technical. I master the technical because I want to get to the art that I want to create that's in my head. I would
Gotcha.
say that's probably one aspect. And then another aspect is photography allows me, particularly portrait photography, really allows me to connect with people.
Hmm.
And when I work with my clients, and you know this, I spend a decent amount of time with them and have a whole process. And so I really get to know them. And
Right.
what I'm trying to do is not just create pretty work, like nice photographs of them, but actually go deeper and show to the best of my ability to show their soul a little bit. I mean, I know that's going a little deep and I know we're talking more business, but
No, this is great.
but I think but I think that's what's important is showing who that person really is because whether we're creating stylized portraits that someone's going to put an amazing image in their home on the wall, or we're creating personal branding work for someone's website,
Mhm.
it's really important that it's authentic and doesn't just look like everybody else's. Or I think a lot of times when I know people and I see images, sometimes it doesn't look like them. When clients come to me and they say, I've had my photos done or I had a friend take my photos or whatever, but I want something more. And they don't know how to articulate it. But I think what they're trying to say, at least in my experience, what I see my clients trying to say, they want to show who they really are. They want to show authentically who they are. But you have to know how to connect, first of all, with people. And you
Mhm.
have to genuinely want to connect and care. And then you have to artistically bring that out in a way that creates an end result product that is something that ends up on their website or wherever.
Right. No, that's
So,
good.
so yeah, it's the art and the connection with people for me that is why I love the photography, and I really value portraiture. I really do.
Yeah.
When you can get really deep and really show the soul of the person.
Yeah, and in your
So
short bio, you did mention like art marketing, and I think that's the first time I ever seen art and marketing together. And I'm like,
probably
it made me want to Google search it. I didn't go that
you
extra.
can.
I was
There's
like,
this
what is art
industry. It's a
marketing?
small. So
Yeah.
it's for the arts, performing and visual arts. And so, I've been a marketing director for a ballet company and created a nonprofit that was um, focused on choral music and actual drawing for children. I worked with. I mean, the combination. I think that the starving artist. I understand the concept, but I do believe there's value. There's so much value in the arts, and so that people who don't have that and are looking for someone with that for as
Mhm.
their specialty and expertise really do value that and bringing that more artistic edge to their business via their personal branding or product photography, there's a lot of value in that. And
Right.
I really think artists do need to value themselves. So, you know, I
Totally.
mean, I suppose with photography, it's part artist, but part business. And I think that's a really beautiful mix.
Yeah, and you have to learn how to portray that to your audience. Like people need to know about you. So that's big. It does go hand in hand. So I like those pointers. Another question that I wanted to ask you is what differentiates you from other photographers, right? There's so many people that are photographers. What makes you different?
Yeah, that's true, especially in this day and age. I always say everyone's a photographer because you all have an iPhone, right?
Exactly.
So has camera feature on it. Um, I would, I mean, really with any artist, and I give this advice to my clients or sometimes when I speak for personal branding. When you're looking for a photographer, it's really important that you connect with them as a person. And what I mean by
Hmm.
that is not necessarily like could you be their best friend and hang out, but rather do you connect with their style? Do you connect with the way they see the world because they will see you through that same lens.
Right.
So always look at a photographer's work and do you envision yourself there? Like, do you envision yourself as one of those people on their website? I think look for a distinct style in that regard. So what differentiates me from other photographers is me.
Mm.
I mean, if that makes sense,
Yes.
because I have a unique way of looking at things, and so does the next person. And the next person might be a better fit. And that's totally okay. I really care about having a good match and a good fit with my clients
Mm.
because I give them I give them everything I possibly can to really create an experience as they're going through the process of a customized photo shoot, but also really help to see and understand their needs, whether that's from a marketing standpoint, where they want to be in their business in 5 years. And that I value that. So someone I you really in looking at different photographers see what that photographer values and is that what you're looking for. So I don't know if that completely answers your question, but I would say that what differentiates me is probably the way I do my work,
Right.
the processes. Anyone who's worked with me knows that you're not really. Like, I do offer headshot sessions, and that is more of an abbreviated session. But most of my personal branding uh, experiences that walk with my clients through, I'm getting to know them. I'm understanding their um, kind of their purpose behind their business. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, how they want to be seen, how they're currently showing up, what do we want to change. I feel like
Hmm.
I come in to create the gap from where they are now to visually in their visual marketing to where they want to be. And
Right.
so I try to bridge that gap and get them to where they want to be. We bring in stylized wardrobe. I have professional hair and makeup artists on staff that we create the looks with together with the client specifically for their brand. We take into account their logo colors, all of that stuff. So that's what differentiates me is probably my processes and the
Hmm.
way I approach it. But I'm not right for everybody, in the sense that if you just want to something, you want to come in and out, you want it to be really quick. I'm probably not I mean, like I said, I have a headshot session, but I mean, I'm really to
Right.
go deeper with my clients and really help them achieve their goals and their end result to why they're doing this in the first place.
No, I love how personalized. Out of all the entrepreneurs, I love how detailed you are in the process when it comes to personalizing it. Uh, I remember, and for those that are listening and watching this, some context is Anna Rose is our client for website solutions, and I'm also her client as well for professional photography.
Mutually
Um,
beneficial.
Mutually beneficial, and I've been through the experience myself, so this is more of a client success story, and also just knowing her as a person is awesome, and how much you've really grown the business is inspiring, and you just have the heart of a learner and continue to grow. And I remember when you were hiring people for the business, and it was as detailed as soon as they park the car, we're there to get their coat, everything, walk them to the door, And then that whole experience, I'm like, whoa, you're starting off like that. I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's a luxurious experience right there. And it's high level. And it's right. It's a limited amount of people um, that want that deep level, high level experience, but it's totally worth it. Right. And I think that's what differentiates you from just other photographers. I like that experience is what I'm trying to say. I remember one time you were telling me about your why. I think we had a meeting at Phil's Coffee and we're going down, certain things you wanted done on the website, right? And you brought up the question, actually you told me or asked me, what is your why? And I kept answering it, and you're like, no, deeper. What is your why? I'm like, what is up with you? Like, I don't understand like why we're going this deep. But it was like peeling an onion. Like there was layers and layers and layers. And then we finally got to the root of my why, right? And you were really like growing in this area and figuring out what your why was, right? Which at the same time helped me to know what my why was. And I don't I think sharing that also with our listeners and viewers would be amazing to understand your why around what you do, specifically around portraits. I know that was big. I believe when you were growing up, right?
So there's the long answer, and then there's the very abbreviated answer. The very abbreviated answer is I seek to create beauty in this world and help others see it in themselves.
Mm.
That really is what I'm doing. And so that's why every little detail matters to me, because I'm creating beauty all around, not just in the final image. And when I mean beauty, I mean
Right.
beauty is in the universal sense of beauty, not as in feminine as stereotypically we think of, but I'm male, female, what business, portrait, personal, whatever. But yeah, I mean, so it does go deeper in the sense, and the connection to portraiture has to do with, I think I shared with you briefly. I lost my mom to cancer, and there's four siblings. I'm the third of four, and we were all adult siblings. We're all sitting around and at the preparing the funeral, and they asked us, "Do you have a nice portrait of your mother that we can display for her, her service?"
Right.
And we didn't. I mean, there was a lot of Facebook photos and a lot of snapshots, and um, but nothing that really captured her essence, of who she was to us, who she was to her 10 grandchildren, and there just wasn't. I mean, there was ones from when we were kids, but that's when I really wanted to set out that connection of showing people in the sense of who they really are.
Right.
Um, yeah, so that's goes into more of my deeper why, as far as why portraiture.
Hmm.
Although I do shoot product and things like that, but why
Right.
specifically portraiture?
No, I love that. Thanks for sharing. By the way, that's powerful.
Sure.
That's a powerful story. I always get goosebumps when you share that story. And it's also what differentiates you from a lot of people is getting to know you as well, right? I know, like going back to, you know, website design and you being my client, I'm curious to know what prompted you to look for outsourced website design because there's a lot of entrepreneurs, there's a lot of marketing professionals that tune into the show from time to time, and sometimes they don't know what prompts them, or they don't know that maybe they need outsourced website design.
Yeah, that's easy. That's and I'll tell you why. Because I really believe in the value of people who are specialists in what they do. I think we live in a culture of uh, DIY. You can look anything up on Google, and you can build a house, for goodness sake. I mean, you can do whatever you want. Like,
That's
you don't
true.
have to be like that's what people. That's the surface level.
Right.
But then once you get into the details of something, and this is true for websites because I did it, and then I realized I'm not a specialist in this area. I better stick to what I am a specialist in, and hire someone else to do this for me. So I think we live in a culture where everything is just YouTube it, and you know, find a YouTube video, and then you
Totally.
got it. And you get like a quick hit in the sense of you kind of get something. Like, so let's take the website situation. You get a website up, right? You got a URL, and you went to GoDaddy or whatever. Probably shouldn't say names of different things, but
No, it's fine.
um, but and that's what I did. I had a website, and I watched way too many tutorials because it's harder than you think, even with the easy quote unquote services.
Hmm.
And I had a website up, and because I have imagery on there that people like, they liked my website because of the imagery, but the actual site and my SEO, and which is a whole nother thing that you do amazing, that I don't have time, nor am I an expert in that. But anyway, my website looked like everybody else's. And I don't
Mm.
believe that we are like everybody else. And I didn't want to come across and market myself like everybody else. So then as I started seeing what I got to know you, and, I actually looked at a couple other web designers too, but hands down, the work that you do, not only aesthetically on the front. Okay, so that's first and foremost, because then my website is unique, and that that matters to me in my work, and that's why my I try to photograph each of my clients. Like, I work
Right.
very uniquely with each of my clients. So I wanted my website to market me
Hmm.
uniquely as well. Um and then just your personal service. I mean, the fact that I'm not like getting a, please wait for the next available, operator to be with you shortly. So the
Representative.
fact that exactly, we really care about you, but you're gonna have to wait here. So the fact that I can get, have access to your team and your company, and it's direct and immediate, and that is incredibly valuable for me, because just maybe more me, I'm like, oh, there's something wrong with my website, fix it right now, so
Right.
I can be somewhat patient, but I just our websites represent who we are, and people, whether we like it or not, people make snap judgments by what they see. So if our website looks clunky or takes forever to load,
Hmm.
people make a judgment about us and
Yes.
about our business. It's more about our business than about us personally, I think, when they're coming to our site.
Correct.
So yeah.
Yeah. People judge
So
hard.
they do. Like, I mean, I know I do it. Like, if I'm on a site and it's spinning forever for, images to come up or something, I'm like, next. I don't I mean, we do have a very short attention span, and it gets shorter and shorter as a society, but we have to keep up with that, and we can't ignore that. And I don't think you can get away with doing it yourself. So why did I seek to have a professional do it, is because I think that there's some things that are okay to leave to a home do it yourself project. If it really doesn't matter, go
Right.
for it. If it matters, kind of like the whole front facing side of your business to the rest of the world, which I think is kind of pretty important,
Right.
or pretty important, then I want a professional. And you and your team, like, clearly is so professional and on it. And the fact that you guys take care of the whole back end, to me, that actually really impresses me. That's what I tell when I talk about you and your services. I'm like, all the back end. He does all the stuff on WordPress, and he makes sure everything has all the SEO and all the, everything is tagged, and all the stuff that I had no idea really was going on.
Mhm.
Um, you take care of all that, and all the glitches. You check for bugs all the time. I mean, all that stuff,
Right.
and that's no matter. I mean, you can't just do that full time and run your business full time, because your website, that's a full time. I mean, maybe it's not full time, but it takes a lot of time.
It definitely takes a lot of time, and thank you for sharing that very valuable information. Because what I hear also a lot for not just marketing professionals but entrepreneurs is learning to delegate, and that's another point that you made. Is I've learned the experts leave it to the experts. Here's what I'm good at. You delegated, which opened up a ton of time for you to focus on other aspects of your business and really go to the next level. And that's what I hear a lot from people. Is like, if you want to scale, meaning going to the next level, then you got to learn how to delegate, how to take things off your plate so you can focus on other things, right? So sometimes it's people just having control issues. They're like, I don't trust anyone. It's like, I don't think you're going to get very far. There's only so much you can go in growing your business if you're going to try to do everything, right? So I think that's very
It
valuable.
is true. Yeah, it is true. It's freed me up to know you're handling it. It gives me peace of mind, and it's freed up way more of my time, and my time is better spent doing what is my expertise,
Hmm.
and you focusing on your expertise are a lot more efficient than I am.
Right,
I mean, it takes me to make a change on my website
right,
probably 5 times as long or 10 times as long as it would you, but
exactly.
that's okay. That's why I make minimal changes. You do the most changes.
Right.
So,
And those listening, Anna Rose Monroe is my industry partner. Anything that has to do with photography, I send directly, I refer business directly to her. And what's funny is when she refers me business, they're like, I want a site like Anna Rose Monroe. And I'm like, you're not a photographer. What are you talking about? They're like, well, can you make it look like it? I'm like, oh my gosh. But no, it's been great. All my clients and even prospective clients that I referred you business are just they just scream about you. They love how high level you are, to how personal you are, to the quality of your work. So awesome stuff. And
oh, thank you.
one of the last questions, I think it's the last questions that I always have on my mind, and I'm always going to ask this is who is your ideal client?
And that's a good question always. Um, I ca- I think sometimes I think your ideal clients find you. You can say this is who I'm going after, but I think there's a synergy between who you attract and
Hmm.
who's attracted to you. So my ideal client tends to be someone who cares about stylized portraiture, cares and values an elegance in their portraiture, and my clients tend to be entrepreneurs that are, generally more higher end or luxury product services.
Hmm.
Not necessarily all of them. No, I mean definitely not all, but that tends to be who attracts to me. Mostly, I would say 60 to 65% of my clients are women, um, probably about age 35 to 60. But I do have a decent amount of men that come to me as well. But the men who come to me also really value the experience and quality work too. So
Yes.
it's people who value quality by either the work that they do or how they do it tends to be an ideal that's an entrepreneur tends to be an ideal client for me because we kind of meet from a philosophical perspective or like an approach to business perspective, and so we're just creating like I'm doing my specialty to help support them. So
Right.
it's entrepreneurs that value quality work and value a quality experience, and general, well, I would say it's men and women, but I probably tip the scale more toward women, but
Hmm.
only by like 60 to 65%.
Wow, that's very specific. 60 to
Yeah. No,
65%.
I kind of look at
There you
what,
go. You done
you
your
know,
marketing research right there.
because, yeah, I mean, I think in the beginning of my business, I said, okay, this is who I'm going after. This is my client. And then it kind of has evolved to this is who comes to me. And these are the people that I so enjoy working with, and they so
Mhm.
in at least, from my perspective, they tell me they so enjoy working with me,
Yes.
and they come back and they refer people, so their friends or colleagues. So that's who attracts, and a lot of people come to me for personal branding first, and I think that's because we're in the Silicon Valley, and the truth of the matter is that just gonna say it, but here in the Silicon Valley, everybody is willing to spend money on their business and their professional brand. We are in the Silicon Valley super competitive. This is the big leagues, right?
Mhm.
But but then then they come back for those stylized portraits of them, or them with their husband or
Right.
their family, and we build a relationship and we create more from there. But typically the entry point is personal branding, because they want to update LinkedIn, and they want new personal branding images for their website and social media. And so that's usually the entry point. And I think that, personally, I think that has a lot to do with it being the Silicon Valley. um so
Right. And I think a lot of people, like, they see the value of investing in yourself, right? Whether that's eating healthy, whether that's LinkedIn, your professional image, uh, how you portray to others, your audience, right? So what I'm seeing is people are starting to cancel, like, Netflix, all these subscriptions, and they're like, you know what? I'm actually going to pay for this subscription on marketing, this subscription on personal branding, right? Or just branding, and or digital marketing. So they like really want to invest, they really want to learn, and they see value in that. And I think why we connected, or clicked very well, was we already had the marketing background experience, so we could just chop up about marketing for like hours and not even touch the website yet, right? But I think that was big. But then too, because we're entrepreneurs, we're passionate about what we do. We see value as service providers, and that's huge. That's big. So we know that, hey, I'm putting my reputation on the line. So are you. We're in the same. There's risk here and there, but at the end of the day, like, we're pretty much wholehearted in what we're doing. So I love that you're going after entrepreneurs as, your favorite clients. You're going pretty much after everyone, and everyone's coming to you. But it's good to know what your ideal client is. And for those that are listening and are your ideal clients, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, I have a handy form on my website. So, yeah, my website is annarosemonroe.com, and that's ANNAROSEMONROE.com. And you can check out my work, and yeah, just you can shoot me an email through that. The contact form on there is great. It's how I prefer to have that initial contact with my clients, because I kind of see what they're interested in, or maybe they just want my newsletter and just kind of want to be in the know for a while and
Hmm.
kind of get to know me before they take the jump, and that's fine too. But yeah, that's the best way to reach out to me. And then also, I have a pretty active presence on Instagram as well. And you get a little more of my creative work and stuff
I
like that
love
on
I love
Instagram.
Instagram. Yep, you do a lot
Yeah.
of great posting on Instagram. I can tell your passion comes out on Instagram.
Yeah, and I write more about what I'm doing, and yeah, and my Instagram handle is, do we say handle? That's like Twitter handle, but Instagram name, whatever it
Username.
is
There you go.
profile, username. There you go. Is See, I'm not a social media expert.
No, I was thinking about, is it
That's
Twitter
another
handle?
person. Yeah, exactly. I know enough to market my own business with social media, and I do know a decent amount. But yeah, anyway, um, the my name is Anna Rose Monroe Photography on Instagram. So if you want to look me up there, I'd love to have the follow, and then I usually always check out who follows me and follow them back, oftentimes too. So it's a
There you
great way
go.
to get to know each other.
Follow Anna Rose on Instagram, and you can learn more about her services and look at her beautiful portfolio on her website, www.annarosemonroe.com. And lastly, do you have any advice for our listeners?
I thought of this question, and I think if I could say anything to your listeners, who are probably mostly entrepreneurs or business professionals, do not underestimate what you're putting out there visually in your photography.
Hmm.
And I say that because people, as I mentioned before, people make snap judgments when they see your photos. And if they're pixelated, blurry, unprofessional, or you kind of don't look like you're fully there in the image, people make a judgment about whether they're going to reach out to you and just
Right.
fill out your information, or reach out and call you, or book an appointment. And so it's really important to keep that in mind. And that's across all your social media platforms: LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you are, but clearly on your website especially. But yeah, don't underestimate the value of professional photography. And you don't have to come to me, but do go to someone who cares, listens, and really brings out the best in you, um, because it matters. And we pick it up on a subconscious level. Something like 80% of what we take in is subconscious. Um, so there's a lot of things in that. We're very visual. We are,
Right.
and even more so, I think today.
That's great advice, Anna Rose. Well, you're awesome. Thank you for your time, and you make
Well,
it a
thank
great
you,
day.
Jesus. This is great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I loved it. I have a lot more questions, but I'm trying to keep it within the time limit.
Well, we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, we'll do a part
So,
two. That would be awesome.
yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Jesus. I really value you. I value your work and value your listeners too. So, keep up the good work.
Thank you. You too. You have a good one.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye bye.